Okay, couple of things we have left is over here. Well, first of all, we have this X for each bar or section. We have an X so we can delete it. Okay, we have an undo and redo, so I'll undo that. Then next to the delete bar, we have this rest, and this appears to, well, I'll show you what happens. When I click that, it seems to completely blank out everything in that section. But if I select one of the motives, it comes back. Okay, so that just allows us to easily mute the entire bar. Okay, and then we have this plus sign, and that simply creates a new motive and a new rhythm with along with it. Okay, so that's what that does. And then we have the clone motive, right? I think that's what it's called, clone motive for editing. So in other words, G and F are clones of each other. So we can, if we like a motive but we want to tweak it, instead of just creating a new motive with the plus sign, we can copy one of the motives and kind of work from there. So that's the difference between creating a new motive from scratch and copying one of the existing motives, you know, A, B, C, D, and working from that one. Because if we create a new motive, we're going to start from scratch. It can be anything. I mean, we might like a certain motive, but we want to just change it a little bit. Okay, so that covers these four icons, and then this percentage thing is just the default velocity. You can set that to whatever number you want. I don't see any way to adjust the velocity in the melody editor. You know, you just all the notes will have the same velocity, so that's something you're just gonna have to do in one of the other editors, and that's no problem. Then we looked at the note length options here, and those are definitely useful. And then you can shift everything up by an octave. Well, I guess that means, like, if you go 2 octaves and then you generate a melody, yeah, then this will apply to the next, when you generate melodies, they'll be up in this range. So this allows you to make melodies in higher ranges, even without, remember we had the note range, without changing that at all. You can just use this octave adjustment and have the melodies created like an octave or 2 higher. So I'll bring that back down, or lower for that matter. Okay, 4/4. I mean, here's our time signature, right? So that's in beats. Our tempo, our key, and by the way, you've got all these scales. I mean, it's mind-boggling how many different scales there are. So you have access to all that in creating melodies. And I didn't go into this at all, but that could be a fascinating exploration. Just to begin to start using some of these exotic melodies, like these Hungarian melodies, and maybe like Hungarian gypsy, for instance. I don't know what that sounds like, but maybe like Google Hungarian gypsy music and listen a little bit uh, to get an idea what that sounds like, and then go in here and let the program create some Hungarian gypsy melodies. I mean, wow. What's that all about? Let me try preset on that. Yeah, like this thing, for instance, and then I'll do lengthen the notes a little bit. So let's see what we got with F Hungarian gypsy. Yeah. Yep. Yep, that sounds like Hungarian gypsy. Okay, fantastic. So, you can, uh, you've got all your scales here. So you can, play around with, in different genre, jazz, some whole tone scales, and then bring those in and, figure out what kind of harmonies will go with them. I mean, it's really mind-boggling, the potential here, for, quickly making melodies, in all these different scales, and then seeing like how to harmonize them and things like that. I mean, wow, unbelievable. So you've got that, and then we went over the dice, and obviously the lightning bolt, which is the main button for generating new melodies. You've got your loop on and off in your play, and you can select, if you right click, you could select a different instrument. Yeah, you might want to generate some basses and use the bass, see what that gives you. Well, that didn't seem to work. Bass preview. Even a rhythm preview, what's that? Yeah, that just gives you, I mean, that's pretty cool. You could bring these rhythms in to like a drum editor, and set it to like a snare drum or something like that. Yeah, that's interesting. So that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, we did add to the clipboard. We saw how important that was. You've got the save as, and you can create, groups. So you can save your melodies just like any other phrase. That's all that's going on here. And so you can, create your melodies and just save them as phrases. One of the things I was thinking of doing is, here's my idea, where you have like either Bitwig or Ableton Live. In other words, a program that uses the clip-based type sequencer. And the beauty of those clip-based sequencers is that you could just use this this MIDI drag, and I'm thinking of Bitwig more than Ableton. Ableton, I don't really understand Ableton, but in any event, you can just make a whole bunch of melodies and just start. It's a bit of a pain, kind of naming these things. I find that difficult. But instead of creating melodies and then naming them and saving them to the phrase library, that seems a little laborious. You could just have Ableton or Bitwig open in another screen, or the same screen, and just drag the MIDI right into one of the clips. So what you would end up with is just like, you know, you just basically using Ableton or Bitwig to store all these melodic clips, and then you could start playing with them in that program, you know, which is and the beauty of like a clip-based type workflow is that, you know, you can rearrange them very, very easily and see what goes together, see what you like, and then ultimately, like, you know, export them and kind of build up uh, a library of melodic material or clips that way. And especially with Bitwig, one of the unique things about Bitwig is that you can have more than one project open at a time. So assuming you had like one project where you stored, let's say, 100 different clips of melodies that you made with the melody editor, you know, you've got 100 of these things in this big kind of matrix. Then you open up another project and you could kind of like, you know, switch back and forth. In other words, like, let's say with this Hungarian gypsy melody, you know, pull something in with that, and maybe you know, pull 5 or 6 examples of the gypsy melody and see what you can kind of create with that. That's kind of a workflow that I'm anxious to try. Okay, so those are just some of my ideas, and you know, I just want to wrap this thing up by saying I know that this was, you know, all these videos were not a professional effort, and that, you know, I rambled a lot, and, you know, I kind of struggled through this stuff, but I hope in the end that, you know, if you stuck with these things, that, you know, you learned really kind of all the different features of this melody editor, and, you know, when you're confused with something, you can go back, and the real point of all this is to make is to help everybody like learn how to use this new tool. I mean, there's no question in my mind that this is a groundbreaking tool. I've never seen anything like it. I can easily see this thing, you know, spreading to music schools across the world over, you know, a period of years. I mean, I just don't see why not. I think it's that, I think it's that good. So, you know, I can just apologize again for the kind of raw nature of these videos and the rambling and all that. But at the end of the day, if these videos really help you learn these features, and you know, that's what's important. I wish I could have done it, you know, more smoothly and in less, you know, in less time, so you could sit down in like 2 hours and get all this stuff. But, you know, I wasn't at that point, and I'm not that good at doing these videos in any event. So, but, you know, I hope that with, you know, all the different ones, and I've tried to name them so you can go back when you're, you know, when you have a question about one of the features, and you can like find the video that deals with that particular feature. You know, I hope that this is a good resource for people. Okay, so you know, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you guys around the next time. Bye bye.